Welcome to That's No Class. I'm Brian Baruman.
And I'm Morgan Darian.
Welcome back to the home of class, where we talk about the most interesting and funny things happening in the news and in our lives, try to figure out how to live classy, and call out no class moves.
This week in news, Brian brings soda news. I cover mummification. We relay stories about how our week went without each other. Schemes is back, and as always, we end with our no class picks. Okay, so two things. We talked about rentals last week, and I was informed by a listener that in Australia, rent is paid fortnightly. So every 2 weeks.
Is that what that means?
Yeah.
A fortnight?
Yeah.
Okay.
So we got and we got a response to your news story. You were talking about how the internet is disappearing and pages are just not working anymore.
Yes.
Okay. So one of our listeners is responsible for overseeing her organization's website, and she says websites degrade over time if they're not actively maintained. She says Brian's right. All you have to do is ignore it for a bit and things won't work correctly.
Interesting.
So, yeah, thanks to our listener, Faith,
Whoa.
for the info.
Hey, thanks, Faith.
Let's get to some
crazy.
news.
Let's get to some news.
Now here's the news.
All right. I have not been working this week.
Yeah.
So my news might be not the greatest news, and I apologize to everybody. I usually have a stronger game than this, but this week I have been pretty much out of it. So this is what I got this week.
Okay.
Big news in the world of soft drinks. Dr. Pepper has tied Pepsi as the number 2 soda in the world.
What?
That's what I bring. Okay, but
Pepsi is number 2. Oh,
Pepsi's
because
always
Coke
been number
is
2.
number
Yeah,
1.
Coca-Cola is,
got it.
since the beginning of time, I think, has been number 1.
All right.
But I think I've only ever seen you drink a soda once, and it was a root beer at a bar.
Correct.
So what do you prefer, friend? Have you ever had a Dr. Pepper and or a Pepsi in your life?
I like Coke better than Pepsi.
Really? You're one of those?
Yeah.
Yeah. Most people are those.
Dr. Pepper is pretty good.
Okay, this is my rankings. I never drink soda, but this is my rankings. Number 1, Mexican Coke.
Yeah.
Not Coca-Cola. Regular Coke, otherwise known as Coca-Cola, tastes like failure. Dr. Pepper, that's it. That's my list. Mexican Coke, Dr. Pepper. 2 things. There are no other sodas that I drink. Sorry.
What?
Morgan is sick, and she's trying to convince me that she's not sick, but every time that she laughs, she has this like terrible cough. So just, you guys know how this show is. Just expect that there's going to be a lot of coughs in the background. You did a really good job of not coughing on mic. So I'm proud of you.
Yeah, I'm not
just
going to
keep that up for the rest of the show, but it's good. Anyway.
I'm doing it.
If I'm feeling wild, I will drink a squirt, which my dad calls square. And if I'm feeling self-destructive, I'll have a cactus cooler. There are no other sodas in my world.
That's what it is.
Okay, and I have one small update to another story.
This is a wild news story.
I know, I'm sorry. This is what happens when I don't go to work.
It's not even news.
It is news.
Who cares?
The news is that Pepsi was always number 2.
Oh, okay.
And it shows how far that Pepsi has fallen. That Pepsi's not... Actually, it's a tie, but...
Is Dr. Pepper its own brand?
It is, as a matter of fact.
I thought it was an umbrella, under an umbrella.
But everybody likes Dr. Pepper, I feel like. I think that's what this reveals, is that...
I guess you're right.
Your dad got a Dr. Pepper the last time we saw him, didn't he?
What?
He got a Diet Dr. Pepper when he was here.
He did?
He did, I think.
Never in my life have I seen him
I'm
drink
sorry.
a Dr. Pepper.
I'm screwing this up. It was my uncle.
Okay.
When I was in Arkansas.
Sounds right.
He got a Diet Dr. Pepper. But anyway, you're right. Sorry. Andrew, I know you don't. I never see you drink name brand sodas. I apologize. But that is slanderous.
At the most, an iced tea.
Slanderous. But anyway, yeah, that's it. Okay.
Okay.
Small update, though, on another story unrelated to sodas.
Ooh, what?
But the restaurants that we talk about a lot. QR codes, remember I said they were no class? They were no class pick of mine? Wall Street Journal did an article talking about how restaurants are getting rid of them in huge numbers. Why? Because of exactly the reasons that I said. That the restaurant people are like, they're pretty no class, and it's kind of low rent if you come in and somebody sees on your table you've got that. So
it is low rent.
And not only that, but an interesting fact here, that one restaurant did a study, and its sales after they switched to QR codes dropped by 10%.
Yeah, because it's so annoying to use.
And I didn't even think about that. That apparently it is so annoying to use.
People just give up.
They give up. They don't even scroll through the menu to get to the expensive thing. They just get the first thing, and they don't even see the rest of the menu, and sales drop. So there you go. QR codes suck.
That's really funny. Okay, good.
What about you, friend? What do you got?
Okay, I'm sorry I shat on your story.
No, it's like when we came in this morning, I was like, oh, God, this is a bad news story. But I'm out of the loop, man. Like,
Okay.
everything has no context when you're not in the place, the mental place. So I apologize to everyone. Next week,
yet,
I'll do better.
I do it every week.
Well, what do you have? What do you have? Top my soda story.
Apparently, there's a battle going on in Mexico between two groups that claim they should be taking care of mummies. It's a city versus Mexico's Federal Archaeology Agency.
Okay.
The city now handles them. These mummies were buried in the early 1800s and dug up in the 1860s. It was an accidental mummification. I can't say that.
Okay.
Because these bodies were buried in crypts in dry, mineral-rich soil due to their families not being able to afford a proper burial at the time.
Interesting.
Now, they are on display standing in a row. AP News calls it grisly, and they're correct. Some of the clothes are even still intact, along with hair and leathery skin.
Sure.
So it truly looks like something out of a horror film. Here is where the true battle lies. The Federal Archaeology Agency is pissed because while moving the mummies for a museum renovation, an arm fell off. So the federal guys are like, you guys don't have the proper training and we should be in charge. We have a right over the city. This is not the first time that mummies have created a national political issue. In 1989, a severed arm from a revolutionary general was displayed in a jar of formaldehyde, but visitors said it had become unsightly. So it was burned and buried. And then I had to include this little fact. At the end of this AP News article, they just randomly, put this bit in about how the president of Mexico in 1838 lost his leg in battle and buried it with honors. And then in 1844...
Before he died?
Yes, he was still alive. He buried his leg with honors.
Okay.
And then in 1844, an angry crowd accused him of treason and dug the leg up, dragged it through the streets on a rope, and destroyed it, shouting death to the cripple. Then he had a prosthetic, and his prosthetic leg was captured as a battlefield trophy in 1847, and the U.S. toured it at county fairs.
Oh, the U.S. took it in the Mexican-American War.
Yes.
Oh.
Then the Mexican government has been repeatedly requesting its return, and we have denied them.
That's ours.
Insane.
That's our leg now.
This guy has terrible luck with his leg or amazing luck with the rest of his body.
Yeah, I mean, every part of him is extremely valuable, apparently.
I was like, what is going on over there?
But, okay, so the federal is saying that these people aren't qualified. But so what are the other people saying? They're saying, yeah, we are, and it's just a fight?
Well, what happened was the Federal Archaeology agency wasn't established until right after the city had these mummies.
Oh, okay.
So they already had them in their possession.
Yeah.
So the city's like, sorry, you guys came after us.
Yeah.
These are ours.
Yeah.
So yeah.
That's a wild tale. Listen.
Isn't that weird?
You beat me, okay? Your news story is infinitely more interesting, and you really brought it, and you really did the work, and I'm proud of you. I'm proud of you. Today, you have achieved something that you've been working towards for a year and a half, and you didn't even know that you were going to get there.
So
and I'm
funny.
super proud of you. That's a legit story to bring here.
I even did extra research about this guy.
That is next level. I'm impressed. So did the guy ever die? We're talking about a leg that got blown off and a prosthetic leg, but he was never killed in battle or anything like that.
Not to my knowledge.
So they took his leg as a trophy, but what happened to the rest of him? It's like you said.
I don't know. He had to get a new
away.
leg. Yeah,
he left it behind or something like that.
He left it behind.
Okay.
This guy took it in battle. He's like, give me this leg.
I mean, you would, wouldn't you? If you were fighting a battle and you saw that, you're like, oh my God, it's the general's leg. You're like, we have to take the general's leg.
It'll be a blow to his ego.
Yeah, so the whole nation. It'll be a moral blow. A lot of trophy taking in the Mexican-American War. I wrote a paper on this in college.
Yeah, I think I did read about that.
Ransacked the churches and stripped all the gold out of the churches. That's what America does.
Yep.
Anyway, great story.
Thank you.
Really good story.
Do you have personal news?
I do. So, guys, I took a journey this week backwards through time. And I think it's because I was away from you, friend, for longer than I ever have been. And I was so outside of my normal routine. I was in Arkansas visiting my mom for a whole week. So I did a bunch of things that I don't normally do when I'm in my normal life with you and at home.
Okay.
So I watched Netflix. I started like listening to old sad music that I used to listen to.
Nice.
And like, I'm talking about like way back. Like I was 13 years old. I was doing all the things that I was doing when I was 13 years old.
13?
And it made me wonder, am I still 13, like deep inside?
Correct.
I didn't think that was true about
That's
myself
true of
personally.
everyone.
I have not experienced this, I'm telling you, in 20 years. So it was kind of a revelation that like, oh, like I'm still left to my own devices, left alone and isolated. I revert back to who I was when I was 13.
I don't think it's like a full reversion. I think it's just like that's still part of us.
That's still there.
Yeah.
Like that person still lives,
Yeah.
which is just weird.
Alongside other people.
Yeah, I just thought that I had gone through such a thorough transformation with all of the
You were
various
like,
things
I'll
that happened in my
never
life.
again.
Never again. Like, oh, that's just not me. And here I am listening to Pink Floyd
There you
and,
go.
sad Smashing Pumpkin songs, thinking about you.
You're so crazy.
The difference is that now you're like an actual person. In my mind, it was always like vague ideas of girls that I liked, or like these weird amalgams. And in you, it's very specifically you.
You're so nice.
What about you, friend? What personal news do you have?
Oh my God. My personal news is that I moved all of our shit, pardon my Frenchy French, from our old place to our new place in my Honda HRV. Sponsor us, Honda.
Sponsor us.
You're welcome for that plug. First off, yes, my car is amazing. I can move whole rooms in it.
Yeah.
Second, my body is sore and bruised in places that don't make sense. I am destroyed and also sick.
I don't know how you did it. And I feel so bad. My mom said to me, she was like, did you know that you were going to be visiting me in exactly the week that Morgan was going to be doing all this stuff moving? I'm like, no, I swear we planned it before. It just everything happened last minute.
Yeah.
And you're amazing and you're incredible.
Thanks.
And I thank you so much. And you're the best.
Okay,
And that's actually note for the show here.
What?
This will be our final episode in our present studio.
I know.
This studio will be deconstructed and it will be moved, and we don't actually have a plan for what the new studio is really going to look like yet. We're going to figure it out. So if you're watching on YouTube, this is going to be the last of this. We're going to try to recreate kind of a similar setup because we really like this setup.
Yeah.
But this is the end, and it's kind of weird because
It is weird. I feel weird.
This show was born in this space, and it's crazy, and I'm going to miss it. And I got a little emotional coming in this room today. Like, this is going to be the last time in here.
I think I would be emotional if I wasn't feeling like such garbage.
If you hadn't done so much
right now, I'm just
work,
like, please let everything be done.
let it go away.
Let me just sink into a bed.
All right. Well, when we come back, we are going to tell each other what we missed after this long time apart, and then more unique ways to try to pull off a scheme. Thanks so much for being here. We love having you. We'll be right back. Welcome back. Morgan and I just spent the longest period apart from each other that we've ever had in our entire time together. I was in Arkansas, she was here in LA, and normally we would already have told each other all about our trips and told the best stories, but we have a show that you're listening to, and you guys are here, and we thought, hey, let's bring the listeners in on this thing.
Okay.
Let's let them hear the first telling of the tales. So that's what we're going to do here right now. So here for the first time, we get to hear it all. So friend,
Okay.
I will tell
What
you
you
my
got?
tales first.
What
It was
you
a
got
wild
for me?
time in the South.
Okay.
As it always is.
Yes.
But this time, it started wild as soon as my plane hit the ground. I didn't know it, but a freaking tornado hit the town right next to my mom's literally the morning I flew in. I told you this.
Yeah.
I did tell Morgan, yes,
Yes.
there was a freaking tornado because how could I not?
Yeah, that's crazy.
It was crazy. We didn't have power in my mom's house. We didn't have cell.
That's
At
horrible.
all. I had to walk out into the street to get it to work. Within the house, there was nothing. There was no internet. It wasn't obvious that a tornado had hit at the airport, and I really had no idea until we started driving through these two towns on the way to my mom's. And these places in Arkansas, it's just like rolling green hills and trees, and it's not anything like a city. Everything is very spread out, so you can't see a lot of stuff in the distance and stuff. And suddenly we come in through this small town, and the trees are just torn down, and you see the streets, just these, trunks of trees in the middle of the roads.
Yeah.
And these tornadoes weren't the most powerful tornadoes. I found out they're like an F2. I never really knew what they meant, but this is what I've learned, is that an F2 is strong enough to tear a tree down and tear power poles down.
Okay.
And those, every gas station almost, you know those things, the roof over the pumps, those metal roofs, those things got ripped right the
Those
F
are
off. Like
F2s.
those did not, anything that was
Ain't
kind of
gonna make it.
shedish,
Okay.
gone.
Done.
Like, but like a building, a wooden building, those things were fine.
Okay.
Apparently, like F3, the next level up, that's when a house starts to get torn up.
Ew.
So we didn't see any houses get torn up, but so many trees, power poles in some places. And it was just a really crazy thing because I've never seen that kind of destruction, that kind of aftermath up close.
Yeah.
And seeing these people on Memorial Day, it happened also to be Memorial Day, so it was like a holiday. And there are people literally clearing their neighborhoods because these trees, I saw a couple cars that got smashed when the trees came down. And it was a crazy thing.
Yeah.
And my mom's house didn't get any damage, but power ended up being out for 3 days. No lights in the house, no air conditioning, no power for the fridge. My
That's
uncle's
horrible.
CPAP machine didn't work, so he didn't sleep for
gosh.
like 3 days. And we looked everywhere for a portable generator, and I mean everywhere. We drove an hour in every direction. All the generators are sold out.
Yeah.
Freaking everywhere. And once the power came back on, everybody trying to return those generators to the Home Depot and stuff. And they're like, nope, sorry, because these generators are like $1,000.
Yeah.
They're not cheap.
Did they say no?
Yeah, they said no. They said, nope,
Yeah.
like you're out of here.
Like, get out of here.
But, hold on to it. It's clearly a useful
I mean,
thing.
yeah, if you're
this is
going to live
something-
in tornado country.
Yeah, if you're gonna, which my mom said is not. She
I
doesn't
know.
live in tornado country. That
and
never
then my
happens.
sister too in Oklahoma. They're like, oh yeah, there's never tornadoes. I'm like, they're both they're the two most
Yeah,
places that I can't speak.
they happen there.
They have tornadoes there. That's
You
what they're
do
known
have-
for.
You do indeed have tornadoes.
Yeah.
So it was pretty crazy. 28,000 people in total without power.
Ay.
And so if every single generator is gone in only 28,000 people are out of power, gives you some perspective into, I know Texas had a huge thing like
Yeah.
a couple days later, 1 million people without power. I cannot imagine the scale of that kind of thing. 1 million people getting power restored, like you would think it would take weeks,
I don't
months
know. I
even
don't know
to
how
do
that
that.
works.
They called out the freaking National Guard and it was only 28,000 people in Arkansas.
What does the National Guard do?
They like direct traffic and they kind of
They make sure people don't
they
lose
bring
their minds.
They bring like assistance. They bring kind of federal assistance and they help like, if people need food and stuff like that, they'll give out food. There was a lot of food giveaways over there.
All right.
I do want to give a shout out to the Arkansas, I forget the station, the ABC station in Northwest Arkansas.
Okay.
They have a solid newscast. As a news person, I was watching them and I was just thinking, man, they gave a lot of information. They had
Okay.
all these like things
That's
telling people,
good.
this is where you get food. This is where you get this. This is where you get this. This is where you get this. And it was just very useful to a person
cool.
who's looking for that kind of thing. It was very useful. So shout out to them. It was cool. My mom never seen that news station, but I was like, I'm going to watch your local news station because your local news station, she's like, oh, New York Times didn't say anything. Who cares about the New York Times?
New York Times isn't going to give a crap about Arkansas.
Yeah, you need the people that are close by, your local news. Anyway, that's just news guy talking about news stuff. But it was very cool. And I just, people help your neighbors out. When
Yeah.
things get crazy, you take for granted that, everything's cool and you don't need anybody, but things go out. Look out for your older neighbors. You don't know what's going
yeah.
on. One of the people who died is because their oxygen ran out because they lost power.
Yeah.
And it's terrible. That kind of thing is terrible. So people, I just hope that they look after each other. Now, I had 2 weird revelations on this trip.
Okay.
And I have been saving these for you.
Okay.
They might be a little no class, and I apologize to the listeners
Oh my gosh,
for some possible
what?
crassness here. But we
What?
have a long history of talking about bathroom practices on this
Oh.
show, so I think there is a precedent.
I'm listening.
Number 1, the state of Arkansas, as far as I can tell, does not have or provide toilet seat covers anywhere
What?
in a public restroom. I think that's what they're called. In the car world, we call them ass gaskets. But I think they're known as toilet seat covers. So I know there are some people who find toilet seat covers ridiculous. It's a controversial topic. There are people who are like, I would never use that. That is so stupid.
Controversial.
And I hate that. There are people that are very strong. In like the Coca-Cola Pepsi wars kind of way, there are toilet seat cover people and non-toilet seat cover people.
Okay.
Apparently in Arkansas, they're not about that.
They don't like it.
They're just like,
They're like, please don't put something in between the toilet seat and me.
and me. I want to do that.
I want to feel it.
So I just thought that was really crazy. I've
is
never
kinda
seen.
weird.
I went to many public restrooms.
You can just use toilet paper. It's easy.
You can, but that's the thing, is that you're trying to tear it and like shape it, and it's like, it's terrible. But what else are you supposed to do?
It's not a big deal.
What else are you supposed to do?
You just use the toilet paper.
You use the
like
toilet
the
paper.
olden days.
But that's what I think. There's people who are not using it at all. They're
Well,
just
of course.
like, don't care.
Of course, there's those people.
Straight up don't care.
Clearly, they have not sat in someone else's pee,
They have.
or they don't care.
That's what I wonder. Like, what do they do? If you are not a toilet seat cover user, let me know. Actually, I know. There's one listener of the show who has told me his opinions on this.
What?
Yeah, he's very against them. Says that, you're soft. If you're using a toilet seat cover, you're soft. So, like, that's certainly, I have opinions like that about certain things, just not about this particular thing.
Soft.
But yeah, okay. And so,
Okay.
number 2,
Yes.
it's going to get a little more
than that?
here. Yes, okay. Somehow.
Cover your ears.
Cover your ears, children.
ears.
My mom and I somehow start talking about just public restrooms in general. I don't know how it came up.
Okay.
And I'm just saying, yeah, it's gross. And like
Yeah.
being in the bathroom as a man with other men is gross. They make a lot of sounds, and like there's a lot of just like, why is this happening? Why can't you just be quiet? And like there's a lot of gross stuff that is specific to men. And then my mom says something I've never heard and never
What?
known this. And she says,
What?
yeah, she's like, the worst part about women is that when they're in the stall next to you, like sometimes you'll hear this.
What?
Like a squeeze, like the squeeze of someone trying to get it out. And she says that it happens all the time. And that is not something that men do at all. I've never heard a man squeeze like that. But she says all the time there will be women in the bathroom who are making this this sound of struggle. And I wanted to ask you, is this true? And is this common? And is this something that it just happens all the time in the women's restroom?
Is so funny. I don't know if I'm just like immune to it and I don't notice it.
You don't notice
I feel
it?
like I would notice it.
I
don't
would
hear
think,
it all the time.
I would think.
I mean, I'm sure I have heard it.
I've never
I have
heard
pushed
it.
that hard at one point, but I don't
Maybe
know if I
that's
would
why.
make a
Maybe
sound.
you're the one.
I'm the one. I'm the person she's talking about.
Yeah, you're that one.
No, I really don't.
Okay.
I don't know.
Well, hey, listeners, you tell me. 'Cause
mean, I'm
I've never
sure
been
I
in a
have.
women's restroom when it happens, but my mom claims that exclusively in the women's... Men, you don't hear that. Men, you just hear what sounds like diarrhea all the time because I don't know what men eat. And that's the heinous thing that you hear in a men's restroom. But I've never heard the squeeze in the women's restroom.
I don't know. I can't think of it.
Okay. Well, pay attention next time.
I guess I will. I'll give you guys an update.
Okay. Let us know, anyone. Call the voicemail.
Man, okay. You
So-
told me 3 stories. You were like, I'm
are
going
my
to tell you 3
stories.
stories. So I thought I would do the same.
Okay. What do you got?
So, 1, I was listening to the lovely little playlist on Spotify, and this like country.
Is that the name of the playlist?
Yeah, that's what it's called.
Okay.
This country-ish song came on, and I was like, should I be a country/blues singer? And then I was like, is there a way to get a master's in music without knowing any instruments or music production? And then I was like, I already have a certificate in film production and bachelor's in creative writing. I think I should maybe focus on those dreams for a second.
Yeah.
So that's my first
I
story.
mean, Morgan's an amazing singer. You guys maybe can't tell listening to the show because she doesn't sing, but she is like a crazy good singer. You could sing in any genre you wanted to.
I was mostly joking, but okay.
But you could. Legit.
Okay, 2.
Legit.
I don't need to discuss
Go
this
for
with
it.
you.
Fine.
Okay, I bought these frozen margarita tubes from Target. You remember Go-Gurts? It's like that, but it's a margarita.
Yes, for adults.
But they came unfrozen, which, sorry, but that's bullshit. So I've been waiting a whole day to try them.
You're telling me stories like they're like the past. You're
I know.
telling me from the moment in time when these things were occurring to you?
Yes.
That's an
when I
interesting
jotted
twist
this
on this.
little tidbit for you down, I had not tried them yet.
Okay.
But I can now confirm that they are exactly what I was hoping for. It's summer, and I just wanted to chew on some plastic while drinking tequila.
Which is exactly what those are.
Delicious.
Yeah, cool.
3. I'm literally the most dramatic person I know. Not outwardly, but inside, I'm like too much. During the last 2 days of your absence, I couldn't handle it anymore. And all I could think about was how if you died, life would be hell. And I kind of made a joke the other day hinting at this, and you joked back saying like, oh, you're going to move to the middle of nowhere next to that donkey and get big dogs and rifles, like you said. And the true answer is yes, because the rest of this is not worth it without my bestie, as the kids say. Except the kids say it about everyone, but you're my literal bestie. I tried listening to music to distract myself, and every song sounded sad. It didn't matter what it was, because even the happy songs were now sad. And I was like, oh my God, I get it. These movies that have single parents that lost their loved ones, and the kid is like, father doesn't listen to music anymore. And everyone's like, what a psycho. But I'm like, no, I get it, man. Music will die the day you do. Apple pie candles from Target will smell like rotting flesh, and food will taste like the dust of burnt dreams. Like, that's it. I missed you.
I missed you too, friend.
I missed you too.
Those are your stories?
Yep.
I'm glad that you had 3 short ones because mine were super long. So thanks for balancing that out.
My week without you had nothing in it. Like, you guys were doing activities.
Yeah, I was
just moving shit and being sick.
I'm sorry.
And that was it.
Terrible. I know. I was driving all around the state of Arkansas and like
there you go.
Eating foods and doing things.
Doing all the things.
All right, guys, when we come back, we're going to look at some people trying to pull a fast one on us all. And then, of course, we've got your no class picks. Stay with us.
The segment that keeps coming back. We thought it would be a one-off, but here we are reporting on more schemes because everyone be scheming. Okay, I have one. We've talked about it for a second a long time ago, and here it is. Private schools. Here's why they're a scheme. Only a few will truly lead to your kid getting into certain schools. The rest of them can touch a fuzzy cactus. One of the reasons, besides schools or futures, that parents think, oh, I'll send my kid to private school, is that they think they're more like, they have more protection or regulation or something. But the truth is, I'd rather have my kid with the regs any day over being shoved in with the wealthy kids. Are you kidding me? Wealthy kids have money to buy drugs. Wealthy kids are bored because they've experienced and had everything. Wealthy kids host at least one psycho per bunch. Statistical facts by yours truly. Wealthy kids drive stupid, free, expensive cars really fast, and they know their parents can bail them out of almost anything, so their knowledge of consequences is next to nil. Public schools might host less education if the classes are too big and disruptive, but honestly, they can learn later when they decide what they want to study. Plus, in my experience, there's always at least a handful of teachers along the way that are truly saints and professors of the soul and mind. I'm not saying public schools are perfect. Shit still goes down, and no matter private or public, better teach your kid how to slip and throw a left hook, or how to run fast at the very least, or how to be mean back, because kids are kids, teens are teens. But you better believe that if you think private schools can provide more safety, you have been schemed, my friends, by society and by the schools themselves.
This is an interesting take on a scheme. You went to private school, didn't you?
For like first through 6th grade, because my dad taught there.
You technically went to a private high school, yeah? Like your
no, that was a boarding school
is a private
for 1
school,
year, yeah.
Right? Mm-hmm. Yeah. So you have experience. I'm just saying,
but that was like
in case people want to get, in case people want to get mad, like, yo, you've gone to the schools.
Yeah.
You've been in these environments.
That's true.
I never have.
Yeah.
Kindergarten, actually, I was private school, and then I was public school all the way through.
All the way through. There you go.
What about colleges?
What are you talking about?
Does that matter? Like public college?
Oh, you mean like community school? Community college?
What is community school?
My brain did a fart.
I mean, like a private university or a public university.
I didn't even know that was a thing.
What do you mean?
What are you talking about?
People go to, like, USC is a private college, and like...
Aren't they all private? Because technically you have to get into them.
No, that's not what makes them. That's not what makes them in fact private.
I don't want to talk about this.
Okay, fine. Interesting twist on the scheme.
There you go.
Didn't know that was going to happen
here. That's a scheme.
I mean, it can certainly, hey, if people, this is the beauty about America. People can spend money on whatever they want.
Yeah.
And you can take the money from them, convince them that money is actually doing something, and then no one's upset.
Yeah.
It's called win-win.
It's called win-win.
Because the parents think that they have really helped their child, and their child could never achieve anything without spending $20,000 a year on something that everybody else gets for free.
Yeah.
So, hey.
There you go.
Good. I'm glad you're happy, parents. Okay. I got a scheme.
Okay.
And it's also a twist. Not quite as much a twist as yours, but I'm twisting schemes itself.
All right. Love it.
And this is from something that happened to me in Arkansas.
Okay. What?
Okay. So my mom, uncle, and I, we go to Olive Garden for lunch. And pretty much immediately we know that we're going to be getting the unlimited soup, salad, and breadsticks deal.
Heck yeah.
Okay. And you guys may think you know where the story is going. You don't know where the story is going. I'm just letting you know right now. Okay. I'm looking around, and sure enough, everybody else seems to be getting this exact same thing.
Yeah.
I mean, the unlimited soups, like it's a no-brainer. It's $10. You get all that you can eat. Cool. And I am on a mission. I am going to eat as many breadsticks as I freaking can. Like I am like, it's carb day.
Okay.
Going for it. Get my
Love
Alfredo
it.
sauce. Server comes. She has some real wild energy. Like too much.
Okay.
Like just way too much. Cannot allow a moment of silence. Just hope you guys are doing good. Hope everything's good. Everything's good. Yeah. Oh, I'm so glad you guys came in here. I'm so glad. Yes. Oh, like whoa. And so I'm like pulled back. My mom and uncle are laughing, but I'm just like, I can't deal with that.
No.
That's too much. Anyway.
We had a server like that at one of my places, and we had multiple tables ask if she was on drugs.
On drugs.
And
Totally
we were
thought
like,
she was on drugs.
We don't know.
Could be some permanent damage from drugs there. But anyway, she is very nice.
Okay.
She gets our order. Before we're even done, she turns and says, "Oh, here, I've got a salad already made for you." And I'm like, okay, that's not crazy because, you know that everybody's going to be ordering this. You might as well have one on hand.
Them. Yeah, because the servers have to make them.
The servers have to make them. So she puts it down, and here are some breadsticks. I'm going to go get your soups. Cool. All right. But before she leaves, she's like, you want any cheese on the salad? Cool. We get the cheese. And then she's like, oh, I'll just grate some cheese on a plate here on the side for you.
Sure.
So if you want it, it's there.
Great.
All these things are not too crazy.
No.
Getting there.
She's trying to prep.
She's prepping. And
All
I know
right.
that she's trying to minimize her trips to the back.
Okay.
5 minutes go by. She comes back with all of our soups, more breadsticks. Thank you so much. 5 more minutes go by. She comes back. I've eaten about half of my soup. Okay. And I think all of us are thinking, man, we're good.
Yeah.
We've had enough food here. We know that it's unlimited, but I don't see anybody ordering anymore. We're good. She comes back with soups in her hand already. Nobody has asked.
New soups?
New soups. I've got half a bowl of soups. She reaches, you want some more soup? And I just look at her. I don't say anything. She reaches over and pours the soup from the bowl in her hand into my soup.
What?
So I now have a full bowl of soup. Okay?
What?
She sets the other 2 soups down on the table so that my mom and uncle dumps the soup. My mom and uncle now also have a separate bowl. They haven't eaten as much as me.
Amazing.
And here's some more breadsticks.
Okay.
All right. So
like Olive Garden server on crack.
On crack. 5 minutes later, she's back. You guys want another salad? The salad is still there. Like, there's still plenty of salad. And I'm eating my breadsticks, and we're like, I'm going to get you another salad.
What?
She comes back with a whole other salad. No. And then she's like, you guys want some to-go boxes? I mean, you might as well just have, like, another meal.
Oh, I don't think you're allowed to do that.
So, yes. So we're like, okay. So she brings us mad to-go boxes, another full bag of breadsticks. The table is covered. There is no room.
A bag of breadsticks?
Bag of breadsticks. For the breadsticks we already have. She has you know those little chocolates they give you? Uh-huh. She's got a fistful of these chocolates. There's no room, so she tells my mom to put her hand out and puts this giant pile of chocolates into my mom's hand.
What?
And we are like... It reminded me of that scene in like The Wedding Singer when she's like, she pays him with the meatballs. Like it was like that with the freaking chocolates. And I'm like, we are in. And my mom and uncle are dying. They think it's so funny. And I'm like, I'm so uncomfortable right now. Because
hard.
so much food is being wasted. So much food is being wasted. Nobody asked for this. None of this is happening. Okay. So 5 more minutes go by. She leaves. She comes back again 5 minutes later and says, here. I got you some more soups already packed up in the to-go. So she sets down 2 more soups with the soups that we already have. So we've got like 6 full soups and 2 salads and like 3 bags of breadsticks and this pile of chocolates, none of which we asked for. None of it. And my uncle is finally at this point, my uncle is a business owner.
Yeah.
And my uncle is like, this isn't right.
No, this is
if I'm
really
the manager
bad.
of the restaurant, I'm like, what are you doing? You're costing the business a lot of money here.
So much.
Because nobody's asking this. And so I ask you this, friend, is this a scheme? Is she running some kind of weird scheme here?
The only scheme she would be running is she probably gets really
Mad
great
tips, right? Huge tips.
for that, especially, I guess, in that location.
And she doesn't care. It's
doesn't
not my
care.
money that's paying for this food.
This is so incredible. I've never seen anyone do this before.
Never seen anything like it.
And also, it's insane because, like, okay, Olive Garden was my first serving job.
Oh, yeah. I forgot about that.
And making those soups and salads, we're in charge of it. We're in
Yeah.
charge of those 3 things.
Yeah.
It takes so much effort and so annoying. I don't understand why you would want to keep doing it.
Yeah. Maybe, I mean, the only thing I could think is that maybe she was like, if I'm doing this anyway, somebody's getting these soups.
Yeah.
If I have made the effort to come out with them in my hand, somebody's getting them.
She's like, which table?
Who are the suckers who have no will to push back on me?
So
And that's me.
crazy. She's definitely scheming the restaurant
She's
for
scheming
sure.
the restaurant. Yeah, my uncle is like, I think I should like call and be like, hey, you should watch out for this server. She's really giving away the product like basically for free here. Like she's
like,
costing you
you
too
guys
much.
want to have a potluck later?
Yeah.
Like,
No.
here's
And then
50 soups.
And then my mom is like, oh, well, there was a tornado and they're trying to make everybody in the community feel better. And maybe that's a
Maybe.
part of it. But dude,
Maybe.
that is wild.
That is so funny. I wish I was there. I would
wish
have
you
been
were,
laughing
too.
so hard.
They were dying and I wasn't laughing. And my mom's like, what's wrong with you? I'm like, I'm like,
You're like,
overwhelmed.
I'm so uncomfortable.
This is like, they were both like, we have to be on camera right now. Like, this has to be a candid camera situation going on where, like, we are being filmed because this is the crazy, like, piles of food. Like, it's so crazy.
Dumping
the soup.
I've never seen that move ever in my life.
Whoa. I was in the
Just let
far
me
corner.
slog this in
the
here.
far corner. Reach across the table. Get it in there.
Amazing. That's
Crazy.
a great story. I like that a lot.
All right, guys. Well, that's what I bring you from
I love
Arkansas.
it. Thank you for that.
When we come back, it's that time. Your No Class Picks of the Week. Stay with us. It's time to wind down the show here, bring it to a close the only proper way with our No Class Picks of the Week.
You're just a jealous,
No class.
lazy bum.
No class
So
pick.
my pick this week, I didn't have one before I was flying home. And I just said to myself, traveling in an airport, probably going to experience something that I can talk about in the show.
Yeah.
I got so much more than I bargained for and so much more than I was expecting. So I flew home on a 2-leg flight from Arkansas to Denver, Denver to LA.
Okay.
The section from Denver to LA, I don't know what was going on, but I was surrounded by the most no-class people I think I've ever been in proximity to in my life. And it was so terrible. And I will tell you guys why. Because I have a window seat, and in front of me, there is a young child,
Okay.
probably 4 years old, traveling with grandma, traveling with mom. Behind me, there is what I would estimate is a 14-year-old girl with mom and with dad.
Okay.
I somehow am in between the kids exclusively. I've got young boy in front of me. I've got girl behind me. Mm-hmm. Young boy has the stinkiest feet I've ever smelled in my life. His shoes are off the entire time, and as soon as the shoes are off, I am smelling stinky feet. Grandma and mom don't seem to care. He's, never mind that he's going wild and bashing everything and hitting everything and making all the noise, and no one's telling him to stop. He's closing my window, doing whatever he wants. Nobody says anything. Okay, behind me, I've got girl who is burping, and burping so much that I can smell her burps.
Ew.
And you guys, for 2 solid hours, I smelled feet, and then I smelled burps, and then I smelled feet, and then I smelled burps. And I turned the air thing on to try to blow some air onto me, hoping that it'll create some barrier. It didn't. It never stopped. And if you think that you can get used to the smell of stinky feet and used to the smell of burps, you don't. and no one checked their kids. The moral of the story is no one checked their kids, and
rude.
no one made sure that their kids weren't being garbage.
Yeah.
I almost lost it.
That's horrible. Smells really get to me.
Smell is bad. Ugh. All right. What about you, Fran?
It's our neighbor's birthday, and she's turning 8. I follow her mom on Instagram, so I knew.
Okay.
And I see her dad in the elevator that night with a cake and flowers. So I'm like, oh my God, that's right. It's her birthday. I hope you guys have fun. And we chat a little about his girls, and then he's like, we can bring a piece of cake for you. And I was like, that's so genuinely nice. And then just to show how doubly classy this cute family is, then I see them again in the morning. I run into them, and they're heading to the park to celebrate with more people. And the mom is like, you gotta come. We're at the park. We have food. Please stop by for real. I haven't been like truly invited to something in so long. Usually the sincerity is not quite there. I had to relay how wonderful people are, and their goodness outshines the badness out there. They're the best neighbors, and I'm going to miss them and miss the little running feet in the hallway and the squeals of delight.
Yeah.
I love hearing their kids' joy, like whenever they're coming home from school.
I know. We hear them every day.
It's very cute. So, yeah.
That's great.
it.
That's awesome. I missed that. That's when you were here, huh?
Yeah.
Without me.
So sweet.
Dang. Classy. They are classy people.
They really are.
Appreciate your neighbors, everybody. This is a theme has
good
been running
neighbors
through this
are hard
episode.
to find
Good
sometimes.
neighbors are hard to find, and sometimes you got to be a good neighbor. And you always are.
Yes.
You always are.
Thank you.
So good for you. Nice, friend. All right, guys, that is our show. Thanks so much for being here and hanging with us. Like and or subscribe on whatever platform you're listening on. We're on all the apps. Episodes also on YouTube. Reach out to us on Instagram at That's No Class. You can also send us an email or a voicemail, that'snoclass@gmail.com. Call 877-7-NO-CLASS, or as Morgan likes to say, 877-766-2527. Call us up. We love having your stories on the show.
Stay classy.
Stay classy and have a great week.